welcome back to Degreelessness, friends and lovers, the warm, cozy center of gaming populism. I'm your host, Shanghai Pete, Professor Emeritus of Sophomoric Subversity, High-Tech Lowlife, the People's Champion, and your good buddy in the mix. Sorry it's been a little bit since my last upload, but I was on vacation from work and now I'm not. Womp womp. Anyways, much like the disintegration of our beloved hobby, we begin tonight with the torture chamber of fear and panic, otherwise known as the AAA gaming industry. So, what kind of shenanigans have those scamps been getting up to in our absence? To find out, that's right, we're gonna need to get a little deep inside. Unfortunately for all of us, it actually turns out that they've been quite busy. Now, as much as I adore the mouth-breathing sophistry of legacy media, I think we can skip some of the more contagious of the brainworm stories from these past couple weeks, so that'll be a no for covering yet another exhausting PR stunt by the walking internet comment known as Soldier Boy. Is he simply retarded? Is this another poorly disguised crypto pump and dump? No one knows, and even less people care. You don't have anything to do with Atari, no one believes that, you are a moron. We also will not be getting anywhere near deep inside the latest TMZ gossip surrounding the ongoing public disemboweling of Blizzard Entertainment. I think we've made our stance on that perfectly clear. You suck, your games suck, and I hope you die. The ugly reality here is that every AAA studio is just one tweet or article away from being the next Activision Blizzard. Remember that next time you think about simping for one of them. That's the moral of the story. Everything else is really just clickbait ad revenue farming. Let me know if they ever release a good game again. Maybe I'd read an article about that. And no, a smarmy, self-congratulatory blue post about how you're renaming a character doesn't count. Fuck off. On a slightly lighter note, the wallets of gaming fans everywhere were recently treated to their favorite kind of cock tease, out-of-context alpha footage of a game whose release date is so far off there may be no one left alive to play it when it finally comes out. I'm referring, of course, to Black Myth Wukong. Sure, it does look incredible, absolutely, no denying that, but as always, I will reserve my knob slobbing for confirmed gameplay footage of a finished product. That way, we can avoid doing unpaid PR work for the developer while leaving awkward qualifying comments like, looks to be legit gameplay to the professionals. Looks cool, very large penis.
Immense penis.
Let me know when I can play it. And next up, filed under honestly the world may have already ended, is the news that virtue signaling has now evolved past the point of parody, expanded beyond the realms of inconceivable hysteria, and passed into the territory of genocidal mass lunacy. That's right, Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most important and influential figures in American history, is being put into Fortnite. Congrats, you've discovered a brand new way to show someone's memory the most amount of disrespect possible. Certainly no way this could possibly go wrong, right? Let's put a beloved civil rights icon that was tragically shot to death in a game about shooting people to death. Just toss him right in there. Have him sell some microtransactions, why not? If there's one thing this sick, sad world definitely needs right now, it's videos going around showing players screaming the N-word over a goofy Saturday morning cartoon rendition of the I Have a Dream speech in fucking Fortnite. At least he's not a playable character, I guess? Because that would be in poor taste, right? Looks like they draw the line at actually being able to recreate his assassination in-game. So, to that end, morality and ethical standards actually prevailed. Ooh, close one, boys. Start the clock for Rosa Parks appearing at the back of the Fortnite bus.
Next on Six Ad World.
Next up this week, seems people still can't decide whether to hate Sony or throw all their money at them. Yes, while they may not yet have been able to produce a single PS5 system exclusive that can't also run on the PS4, they have managed to prevent many customers from figuring that out by ensuring that no one can get a PS5 to begin with. Simply brilliant strategy from Sony here. I'll admit the Microsoft strategy of only selling Halo Infinite in pieces over what appears to be an infinite amount of time is clever, but I think the anti-consumer trophy still goes to Sony here. Pushing out a new PS5 model no one can find that somehow manages to run even worse than the current model that no one can find really puts them over the top, honestly. If only they devoted as much time and resources to their products as they do to fucking over their customers, maybe they could manage to put out another PS2 before we're all dead. Is this oppression? Where's my PS5? Honey, I think I'm oppressed. How do I know for sure? Moving on, briefly, we'll need to do another one of my absolute favorite types of stories. Yes, that's right, it's time for another installment of I Told You So. And this time it concerns the Steam Deck, the new god that Gaben and Valve are about to bequeath unto all of us. Now, as some of you may recall, I had some concerns about this, platform, let's say, back when it was announced a few weeks ago, and I laid them out in a video. Chief among those concerns, though, was the fact that this was a product intended to play Windows games that was not running Windows. Instead, it's running something called Proton, which for those of you into this stuff, you'll know is basically just a more beefy version of Wine, which is just a Windows wrapper for Linux, essentially. If you recall, my concerns were not regarding whether or not this would work, as I stated, I'm sure it will, but rather how well will it work and how consistently. Because let's face it, we're talking about a portable product here, and functionality and consistency are kind of the main things that you need for one of those to be successful. As I mentioned at the time, inconsistent performance or functionality that may require a bit of tweaking, well, that's all well and good for an app running on a gaming PC that you'll have no shortage of options for how to deal with, but on a closed, portable system, how fun is that going to be, wrestling with this bootleg Windows wrapper and a Valve-designed skin running atop an aging Linux distro? My guess, not a fuck lot of fun at all. And perhaps not surprisingly, certainly in keeping with many trends these days though, many people did not appreciate simple facts being pointed out to them. Well, now who's laughing? Oh wait, it's still me because I fucking told you so. Yes, the People's Champion vindicated once again by the news that now apparently many so-called legit channels and content creators are finally admitting that yes, this might be a fucking problem. Ho ho ho! Fiction can be fun, but as I've said before, I find the reference section much more enlightening. Just like Big Daddy Richie over at Review My Ballsack USA had to say here.
A lot of people are expressing concerns that it may not run games as well as Valve is trying to make it out like it will.
Along with the guys over at Game Rant, as they explained here. Seems like once again the People's Champ may not have been so far off the mark, eh? Good thing I'm so humble, or being constantly proven right may start to go to my head. Next, let's briefly talk about the new Matrix trailer, because, you know, that'll be a lot of fun. All I really have to say about this is to offer the immortal words of a good friend of mine. I'm staying far away from this. I will admit, they almost had me though. At first my heart leapt and I made the mistake of briefly allowing myself to think, holy shit, the Matrix, fuck yeah, dude. Then my friend brought it crashing back down to reality with the following image. No, dog, that's gonna be a no from me. I'd have to hear something like outrageously positive about it from someone like Doomcock or Midnight's Edge to even consider watching it. Otherwise, sadly, I'm gonna treat it the same way I treat all new Star Trek. Pretend it doesn't exist. The slow, torturous death by commodification. I don't think it will ever get any easier to watch that happen to something that you used to love. And speaking of death by commodification and something that we used to love, our next topic is the recently announced remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Before we continue, let's just take a moment and imagine a universe where that would be good news. Feels nice, doesn't it? How cool would it be if we could just sit back and enjoy the fact that a beloved game from our childhood is being modernized? It'd be pretty fucking awesome, wouldn't it? But instead, no! And if you're not trembling in fear yet, the remake's lead producer, Ryan Treadwell, offered the following chilling quote. This is a complete remake of this beloved Star Wars story. For Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, we are rebuilding from the ground up while maintaining that integrity and story from the original. You know, the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is a true classic, and one of our favorite Star Wars stories ever. We want to honor that original story and make it as impactful for players today. Oh, well, doesn't that just sound fantastic? Hard to think of any attempts to make classic stories impactful for players today that haven't gone horribly awry, right? Yeah, good God, what have we done to deserve this? And just in case you thought perhaps there was room for a charitable interpretation of his statement, he clarified that no, it's just as terrifying as you first thought, saying, our big goals on this are to bring the story to a modern audience and have it be just as impactful today as it was for players when it originally launched. Well, shivering me fucking shamrocks, that sounds awful. I would think that the best way to do that would be to not rewrite the entire script, but I mean, what do I know? Why reuse the original script when you can virtue signal by hiring someone better known for her social media attention seeking than her writing ability to redo the whole thing? And who better to do that than the infamous Sam Maggs? What? Who? Never heard of her? Well, you're not alone, considering her credits amount to a grand total of about 4 games. However, if you have heard of her, I'd be willing to guess it's not because of the absolutely stellar job she did writing the likes of such famous breakout characters as Sentinel Bryn, the socially awkward soldier from Anthem. Everybody remembers that guy. No, it's more likely you've heard the name Sam Maggs, not associated with brilliant game writing, but instead because of her insufferable public behavior on social media. Now, a lot of people would immediately reach for the easy smear of whining about that and all her so-called social justice activities. That's not what I'm going to do though, because I don't really give a fuck about any of that. As I've explained before, ideologically speaking, nothing that happens on the internet matters. Not that all her bad faith sniveling about smashing the patriarchy with a hammer doesn't speak to her overall character, it definitely does. I just don't care to get into the details. No, I'm actually far more concerned about the comments this person has made that relate directly to Star Wars, since that's the IP of the game that she'll be working on / completely rewriting. Things like these tweets naming Yoda stories as her favorite Star Wars game and then flagrantly confirming that hell, it's definitely not KOTOR, the game I'm being hired to rewrite. If she's being serious, that's raving lunacy. And if she is trolling, well, then we've already established how much she values Star Wars over her own ego. Sounds like a perfect fit for someone to work on the game, right? Not convinced? Okay, then what about these tweets where she dismisses critiques of Rey's character as nothing more than people just don't like women? Let me guess, people also are not allowed to dislike Captain Marvel, are they? Yeah, that alone tells you how strong her grasp of character writing is. Need more? Okay, how about here where she refers to fans as snotty, angry baby boys? Sounds like a very stable person who will do well working with all different kinds of people, right? And of course, who could forget her famous TV interview where she is seen here bad faith whinging about GTA 5.
Online, they can take your character, lock them in place, have made their character pantsless, and then can simulate sexual assault with your character, and you are helpless to stop it.
The graphics are so good, this attack is eerily realistic.
Now, to be clear, I don't think any of this should necessarily make her ineligible to work on this game or any others, and I certainly don't think that her involvement guarantees a bad game either. Of course not. However, it does force me to question the wisdom and intent behind the hiring of a lead writer whose only gaming writing credits amount to a single character in Anthem that no one remembers, if anyone even played that fucking game, a Ratchet & Clank game, the smash hit Scavengers, and Call of Duty. I don't know, seems to me that perhaps this was a hiring decision that was more motivated by a desire to virtue signal than a desire to maybe get the best person for the job. I mean, after all, wouldn't you want someone with as much experience with, writing? I mean, actual writing, not tweets. Tweets don't count. As possible, and not a person with less than 4 games to her credit, none of which are even close to as narrative reliant and dialogue heavy as Knights of the Old Republic? I mean, really? You think that picking this nasty bitch for the lead writer was an accident? Hell no, G. Hell no. She was either hired in spite of her vapid social media blustering and bad faith attention-seeking temper tantrums, or because of them. Neither is good. Again, I'd love to be proven wrong. But, things aren't looking too good for this one so far. And closing out our show this week, we have time for just a few brief housekeeping mentions. First, no, I have nothing to say about China's abhorrent new gaming policies. Fuck China and fuck their mobile-driven gaming market. Well, okay, maybe I have a few things to say, boomer as they may be, but have you considered that maybe your kid spending a little less time playing Fortnite isn't the worst idea in the world? Little less time spent grooming the next generation of edgelord 4chan incel gamer girl bathwater customers, and perhaps a little more time spent raising actual human beings? I don't know, geez, sounds like that might not be a terrible idea. But on the other hand, a government mandating that shit? Get the fuck out of here with that. Xi Jinping can go fuck his Winnie the Pooh looking ass with that shit. Jesus. Moving on to slightly less international issues. Yes, I saw the Sony showcase. No, I didn't care about a single game in it. Yes, I know, God of War. I still don't care. Sorry. I also don't care about Spider-Man 2. Not because I didn't like the first one, but because I didn't play it. Because I don't like games like that. I can only rant about stuff that I feel some type of way about, and I truly just do not have one single fuck to give about anything Sony is doing. I mean, don't get it twisted. If you like it, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, you gotta take the fun shit where you can find it these days, man. We need all of it that we can get. But for me personally, sorry, y'all gonna have to try harder. Okay, that's our show. Thanks so much for watching. We love you today. We love you all the way. Sorry we didn't have a main story tonight, but nothing came up that I felt was really worth devoting a whole 15 to 20 minute deep dive episode to. Perhaps the industry will remedy that next week by birthing some fresh new hell for us all to run screaming from. Cross your fingers. Speaking of new fresh hells, a friend of mine who we'll call Uptown Bobby, his full title is actually Uptown Bobby Shitface, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, my friend Uptown Bobby, who I discuss gaming with on a regular basis, really loves to send me these random 2 to 5 paragraph texts where he does like this bizarre impromptu review of a game he's playing that incidentally I would probably never play and typically couldn't give a fuck about. Usually I just hit him back with a few of those dancing man emojis and try to keep him moving, but it recently occurred to us that there may actually be some value here. So to that end, I've been kind of toying with starting a new video series called Uptown Bobby Reviews, where I take his semi-coherent text ramblings and turn them into like these quick 2-minute videos. I feel like that'd be kind of cool because while I typically tend to agree with his takes more often than not, he does have a much different perspective on gaming than I do. Plus, he's often playing video games that I never would. So I'm thinking that maybe like brief 2-minute, really quick reviews for these games that I usually don't cover and from a different perspective might be kind of fun, right? His most recent rant is about God of War for PS4, PS5, I don't know, whatever. So that'll probably be the first one that I do, and we can find out together whether this is a really cool idea or just kind of shitty.